Hi fantasy managers, welcome to FPL Team Talk. In this video I'm going to give you my team selection for game week 17, where we have limitless transfers between now and after the World Cup to set up our side. I want to put my side together now. I'm going to then set and forget it, and all the content from here on in will then just be focused on the World Cup. We'll have drafts, team selection videos coming out for all of that, so make sure you subscribe. But in the meantime, for this video, let's just focus on setting up our side for when we come back. So without further ado, let's take a look. So a few things I want to go through before I hit the side and go through it with you. Game week 17, the deadline for that isn't until Boxing Day, so we do have a lot of time. Remember, we have a limitless amount of transfers to change your side as much as you want. The prices are frozen till then, so we don't even have to worry about those. And we get a wild card in January. But if we set up our side correctly, then really won't be looking to use that anytime soon. Of course, things could happen, injuries, suspensions, all sorts, so you just cannot plan for everything. But the idea would be that wild card will be saved for much later down the season when we need it. And finally, in this side that I put together, I do wonder whether I've sort of put too much focus on players that I have money invested in already, players that may have gone up in value. I don't want to lose the value for. Let me know what you think in the comments below. But this side, it has got quite a bit of value in it, and it is steering my direction as to who's in the side. I just wonder whether it's too biased, but I can always change this side. As like I said, we got limitless transfers, so let's just have a look at it. So start off with then, I'm going to go with Nick Pope in goal. I do have some money invested in him already, and I don't want to lose that. And besides, I'm really happy with the Newcastle defence. I think they've been pretty solid up until now. He's rewarded me with a lot of clean sheets. His record is not, Newcastle's defence, not right up there with the very, very best. But for his price, I think he's decent. I'm happy as well. In game week 20, they've got Arsenal away. By bringing in Danny Ward, who's one of the cheapest playing goalkeepers, and Leicester's defence much improved, I think it dovetails quite nicely because they got Fulham at home. So I can easily switch from one to the other. 2 clean sheets out of the last 3. I think he's got something like 4 out of the last 6 clean sheets. I'm really happy to have Danny Ward at 4.1. Don't expect him to play. Pope will be the first choice many times. And talking to Newcastle defence, yes, I'm happy to double up with Trippier in that Newcastle side. Newcastle have some really good fixtures coming up. Trippier, not only is he wiping up those clean sheets and the bonus points, but he just is such a tracking threat as well on all set pieces. Nailed. He's just absolutely nailed on. Has to be in the side for me. His expected duo much better than the likes of Cancelo, Dalot, and he's just much cheaper than them as well. Right up there alongside Trent, 5.9, got him for 5.5. Again, got a lot of money invested in him. Just don't want to let that go either. Is that influencing my decision? I don't think so with Trippier, but maybe with Pope a bit too much. Alongside Trippier then in defence, I've gone Cancelo, and this one's really up for grabs. He's the most expensive way into that Man City defence, but probably the most reliable. I'm tempted later on, and we'll look at options, to go for someone like Kyle Walker when he comes back. 4.8. If he is nailed on as he was before he got injured, I think his attacking threat, and we know what Cancelo can do, but just for the amount of money, I think I can do better elsewhere. But Cancelo, you know what, I'll keep him for now. He does seem to overperform, and you've got double-digit hauls and bonus points just galore for Cancelo, even though his underlying numbers aren't that great. But I do want a Man City defender, so I've put him in provisionally for now. Reece James, got to be nailed on. I didn't realise he was quite as close to making the World Cup as he appeared to be, so he should be back in plenty of time for the Boxing Day fixture. 5.8, he's gone down in value. When he's on his game, he's absolutely unstoppable. Attacking-wise, he just possesses so much threat. We know from previous seasons, if you've owned Reece James, what a bit of a legend he can be. He's almost playing as a winger at times. Potter, if he can get that defence a bit more tighter, that's the only sort of reservation I have. But for 5.8, I think he's brilliant just on attacking turns alone, popping a clean sheet and bonus points, and he's a double-digit haul player waiting to happen. So Reece James definitely in there. Alongside Reece James, Dalot, I think Man United's fixtures do look so good. We've got Forest at home, Wolves away, then Bournemouth at home. It doesn't get much better than that, and I think he's nailed on in that Manchester United defence, and probably offers the most attacking threat. After that, Man City and Arsenal, I either could decide at 4.8 I'm happy to bench him, or I could decide actually it's time to move on to someone else. But in the meantime, I'm pretty happy with Dalot, 4.8. Yeah, I'm prepared to keep him. Tomiyasu is another one I could upgrade if I went down from a Cancelo or someone else. I do want to weigh into that Arsenal defence. He is the cheapest, and he appears to be when he's fit, favoured by Arteta. 4.2 doesn't offer a great deal of attacking returns. That's the only thing I'd say about him. Could go to Ben White. You could make the jump to Gabriel or Saliba. So he could be an option. But Tomiyasu at the moment, provisionally sticking him in because I do want an Arsenal defender. Whether it's going to end up being Tomiyasu or not quite sure. Controversial, I know. I think I'm going to stick with Zaha. Very frustrating missing a penalty, but double-digit haul in the last game, and he's got Fulham and Bournemouth at home. I don't think they're much better fixtures than that. Will he stay on pens? That might influence my decision. Again, I've got some money invested in him. 0.42 his underlying stats look all right. He's absolutely nailed in that Palace side. If I think penalties get taken off him, I could be persuaded to go somewhere else. But 7.5, I'm pretty happy to have him in the side. I think those fixtures are just enough to keep him in there for me. I'm pretty tempted. And a little bit of a differential at the moment as well. Almiron, I think he completes that Newcastle trio of players. Great, his figures have just gone through the roof in the last 7, 8, 9 games. 0.48, he looks like a player transformed. He's something like returned in the last 6 games. So 5.8 is an absolute no-brainer. I've got to bring him in. He comes out side. So he enables me to have a bit of money, as do Andreas, and his fixtures look decent. Had him from the start. Underlying stats look okay. Fixtures look okay. 4.6, good price. I just think he enables you to do other things in your side. And I'm happy to play him most part as well. If Mitrovic still out, he's on pens, on set pieces. He's done a really good job for me. I'm happy at 4.6. There's no one better in that price range. And it is what I can do with that money elsewhere. And it's things like bringing in Salah at 12.8. Good fixtures coming back after the World Cup. He will be rested. Underlying stats look good. Oh, I just think he's still such a good player. 12.8, he is expensive. And the only question I have over Salah is if Diaz comes back, can I get away with Diaz covering Salah? Do I need Salah? In this side, I've provisionally booked him in. And I've got Diaz, who should be fit, come back after the World Cup for game week 17. Again, decent underlying stats. For 7.8, I think he's nailed in that Liverpool side. They have missed him. I do think he could possibly take Salah's place, and then I could move to maybe another Man City midfielder, even a KDB. Up front, I do like Martial. Den Haag's made it pretty clear that he's the number one choice. If he stays fit, and he got minutes in his last game, and he's got this 6-week rest not joining the World Cup, he could be fit and firing for Man U. And those fixtures that we've seen already just look so tempting. With Martial playing up front, possibly on pens, I do think he's 6.7. He's worth a good punt. His underlying stats are just unbelievable. But that's given how few minutes he's got. So such a small sort of straw poll of data. It's hard to sort of glean much from that. But 6.7, I think, is a great price up front for Man U. They are scoring goals. I think he's definitely worth a punt. The next man doesn't really need much talking about. Haaland. I'm not even going to talk about him. Let's move on to the next one. He comes in. Finally, a player that I would definitely like to upgrade. He's done pretty well. His fixtures look okay. At 5.8, he's nailed. He's on pens if they ever get one. 0.34. Underlying stats look okay. His return last couple of games is Solanke. I'm not wildly happy about him, if I'm honest. I wouldn't mind upgrading him, but I'd have to take money elsewhere. That could be from Salah, could be from Cancelo. And we'll have a look at those options and different things that we could play around with in a second. So the side itself actually comes out of just over 100 million, 100.7 million. I've actually got a little bit more to play with. You might have a bit less, you might have a bit more. So there's a few options because a lot of these players I'm not saying are absolutely nailed on. I think Salah, you could, if you decided that Diaz is the one that you could go for and you didn't need Salah, possibly KDB. I do feel that I need 3 Man City players in that side. Even when the fixtures get a little bit tougher, when they've got Arsenal, I still think I'll need those players in there. I'm happy to play Man City against almost anyone. So I maybe made that move. Alternatively, Walker could come in instead of Cancelo. That would free a lot of funds, which then would allow me to do the things, perhaps move up from a Solanke to a Jesus, because we've not talked about Arsenal enough. Top of the league, 5 points clear. We've got one defender who I'm not even 100% convinced at. And Man U's fixtures are so good. Could Rashford come in if he's playing so far forward? Just his minutes possibly worried, but I could, if I went to Walker to Cancelo, just move Andreas or someone up to Rashford, or even if I want to save money, I could perhaps go from a Zaha to Rashford. And then you've got the double up of Martinelli could come in again instead of Pereira, or downgrade Zaha, and we haven't even talked about Saka, so he could come as well. So there's lots of different options, mainly involving, when I think about Arsenal players, we've not even talked about Kane. If you wanted to go down from maybe a Salah to someone like a Martinelli, that could possibly free enough money to go to someone like a Kane. And then you've got Cancelo to Walker, that may even free up money to go from an Andreas to a Martinelli or a Saka or even a Rashford. So loads of options to consider. But this is my side now. Remember, price is frozen. Doesn't really matter. We've got unlimited transfers. So I'm just going to sit tight with this side and can come back to it later on. That's it for this one then, guys. Let me know in the comments below, who are you bringing? Who do you think is essential for game week 17? Is there any players that I have missed or overlooked entirely? As I said before, this will be it for the content for the FPL until we start up again on Boxing Day. In the meantime, if you are doing the Fantasy World Cup, please come and join us for content for that. Otherwise, if I don't speak or see you soon, take care, have a great time, see you soon.